Welcome to Love from the Hip. I'm spiritual hypnotherapist, master esthetician, and your host, Sakura Sutter. This show was created with the intention of helping others to help and love themselves. Aside from weekly skin tips, you will hear me spotlight extraordinary souls from around the world who are making a difference by helping others in their own way. You may also hear me follow up with a guest I have hypnotized on an online edition of Love from the Hip, which is available on YouTube. Together we can all make a difference, and it starts with love. Love from the Hip. Hungarian-American psychologist Mihai Csikszentmihalyi was a child during World War II who became quickly aware that very few adults could resume a happy life after enduring tragedies imposed by war. As a result, Mihai set out to make his life's work about discovering what makes people happy and what contributes to a life that is worth living. In his pursuit to understand the root of happiness, he did discover that money and material resources did not increase happiness. So in order to find out where in everyday life we really do feel happy, he conducted a study on artists, composers, scientists, and other creative minds. Mihai says that in the interviews he conducted, many alluded to ecstasy. Mihai explains that ecstasy in Greek meant to stand to the side of something. Then it became an analogy for stepping into an alternate reality. Mihai points out that even in studying other civilizations like the ancient Egyptians, for example, we know more about their ecstasies, like their pyramids, than we do about their everyday lives. He goes on to reveal how an ecstatic state affects our bodies and our minds. Mihai points out that our nervous system is incapable of processing more than 110 bits per second. So when we are involved in a process of creating something new or in an ecstatic state, we don't have enough awareness left over to pay attention to our body. So we then don't notice if we are hungry or tired. Basically, our body disappears from our consciousness. Mihai says our existence is temporarily suspended. Many of the people he interviewed described the experience of entering into this ecstatic state as a spontaneous flow. So he coined this notion, flow, in positive psychology. In his profound book, Flow, The Psychology of Optimal Experience, Mihai outlines his theory that people are happiest when they are in a state of flow. Flow, according to Mihai, is an intense focus and complete absorption into the activity at hand. You might say being in the zone or in the groove. Mihai and other colleges conducted 8,000 interviews with people from around the world, from Navajo shepherds to Himalayan climbers, and regardless of culture and education, they found that there are 7 conditions that exist when someone is in flow. The first is an intense focus. The second, a sense of ecstasy. The third, greater inner clarity. The fourth, knowing the activity is doable. The fifth, a sense of serenity. The sixth, sense of time disappears. And the seventh is intrinsic motivation. Mihai explains that people will be in flow when challenges and skills are higher than average. He also says that in order to achieve a flow state, a balance must be made between the challenge of the task and the skill of the performer. If the task is too easy or too difficult, then flow cannot occur. Mihai's studies also revealed that people who experience more neuroticism, or those who are more likely to encounter anxiety, worry, fear, anger, frustration, envy, guilt, and depression, experience less flow in their daily lives. Reason being is that those with high neurotic behaviors have less motivation to become involved in activities and engage in life less. In contrast, those that exhibit more conscientiousness in their lives have more flow. Conscientious people are more able to flow because they are dedicated to mastering a skill or performing a duty well with the utmost diligence. According to Mihai, the how to put more of everyday life into the flow channel is the challenge. In order to find the flow in the unconscious conscious, action by itself is not enough. At the same time, finding flow on a task which you have no intention of doing is essentially adding more suffering. It is imperative to find activities that give one deeper meaning and purpose. Of course, the formula for flow involves being intrinsically motivated, partaking in an activity led by the heart. Being in flow is also being fully present and aware in the moment, so that one can fully discover who they are, find peace and joy, build trust with their intuition, and live authentically. And with this newfound self-awareness, one can then go through life with all the right intentions, which creates room for all the right outcomes and opportunities to not only come in, but also to be achieved. Essentially, to be in flow or flow consciousness is when the ego is let go and the act or activity becomes greater than oneself, resulting in happiness. As Mihai says, people who learn to control their inner experience will be able to determine the quality of their lives, which is as close as any of us can come to being happy. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing Michael Dash. He is an entrepreneur, best-selling author, mentor, speaker, and philanthropist. He will share how flow consciousness helped him on his journey. He will also reveal how he overcame his addictions and share processes in which one can use to change habits and behaviors. Plus, a little later on the show, we will open up the phone lines so that Michael can answer a question you might have on overcoming a habit or behavior. So stick around after this quick break.
Hypnotherapy helps you discover and explore deep, sustainable life changes. Let Sakura guide your communication with your unconscious mind. Rid yourself of negative behaviors, fears, pains, and emotions. Weight loss, smoking, childhood trauma, chronic pain, and much more can be addressed. Begin healing now. Just $100 for the first session. Learn more, SakuraSkinandMind.com. SAKURA skinandmind.com. Bring out the healthy way of thinking you didn't know you had.
Going our own way every day. Alternative Talk 1150.
Welcome back to Love from the Hip. I'm spiritual hypnotherapist, master esthetician, and your host, Sakura Sutter. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and to subscribe and share my YouTube channel and podcast on Podcast One, Love from the Hip, and that's HYP. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing Michael Dash. He is an entrepreneur, best-selling author, mentor, speaker, and philanthropist. Hey, Michael, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks so much for having me. I love that little flow jingle that you have.
Well, awesome. Well, I figure it's on topic, right?
It's perfect. You have to send me that.
Okay. So where are you joining us from today?
I am in Playa Vista, California right now.
Oh, so plenty of sunshine.
Yes, no complaints.
So I have to ask you, have you finally found happiness and something that makes your life worth living?
Well, the interesting thing is I'm not a big believer in the word happiness itself. I tend to believe in fulfillment.
Okay.
I feel like happiness is one of those words that every person has a different definition to what happiness actually means. And what I am continuously on the lookout for is living a fulfilled life.
And you feel that you're doing that now?
I do. Although I have changed my life completely, so I'm still in a transformational process of being in a corporate, of being an entrepreneur and running a corporation for 11 years, where I had 40 employees and I went into an office every day, and I sold that business last June. So for really since January, I've been, out with my book and building a new program. So I'm still learning and still listening to this new life of a solopreneur, an entrepreneur, and the fulfillment that comes along with it.
So do you think that you are in, this flow state with all the changes and opportunities?
I am in the flow state. I would say by following the premise of what I learned flow is all about from the people that I learned from, which is the Flow Consciousness Institute and Jackie Ketchell and Justin Farman, who actually live in Santa Barbara. I met them in Bali 3 years ago. And the premise of flow being, if it's not a hell yes in your life, then it should be an F no.
Okay.
Do.
Yeah.
And, I never thought of life like that. I never lived my life like that. I never followed that premise. But by making decisions in that state, you live an effortless life and turn over, the belief that everything works out at the right time for the right reasons.
Divine timing.
Yes.
So what are the biggest changes that you noticed about yourself that changed after being in flow?
Well, first off, I was a very negative person. I was in this negative mindset from the things that had gone on in my life at the time. I was in a 6-year legal battle with my ex-business partner. I was running a company that was actually running me. And anytime I would get a call from a client, I would be like, all right, this is another problem. Mm-hmm. Something negative is going to happen. So it was just a mindset that I was constantly living in, of overwhelm, of negativity. And one of the first things that flow allowed me to do is to release that, to let go of it, to not be, to be much more optimistic versus pessimistic. Mm-hmm. It really changed my attitude completely. And so when I wake up in the morning, if it's cloudy out, I used to think, oh, it's going to rain today. And now I think, well, I see the sun breaking through the clouds.
Okay. But you hadn't ever been in that happy, well, you don't like to use the word happiness, but when you're not in that state where you're experiencing positivity, it's actually hard to experience it, right?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. The last 3 years, I've completely shifted the way I look at life, the way I'm fulfilled, all these different things. Previous to that, I had a series of highs and lows that were much more challenging to manage. Mm-hmm. So I was in a euphoric state, like it was the best thing on the planet, like nothing could be better on earth, I'm the best ever, blah, 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 blah. And when I was in a negative state, I was very depressed, very negative thoughts that surrounded me. And then it transferred to how I ran my life, my business, my friends, my family, everything.
Okay. So are there any activities that you partake in to kind of sustain keeping in flow or self-care?
Absolutely. One of the things that I would employ anybody who is listening to this broadcast right now is to go out and try a sound bath.
Yes.
I love sound baths. And my previous life, I would never be caught dead in a sound bath. And so, for those who don't know what a sound bath is, there's usually a conductor instructor who has large bowls, mm-hmm. and various other instruments, and they are playing. They have a tool that makes sound by rolling it around the bowl as if you could do with a glass of wine in your finger, for instance.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. I agree.
It's amazing. And it puts you in this kind of calming state where whatever has happened to you during your day, you can kind of release and let go. And you're laying completely flat. And and you meditate to that music for 45 minutes to an hour. And you really come out of there completely refreshed, mesmerized, with just a very calming aspect to your entire being.
Yes.
And it really allows you to reset from whatever's happened to you in that day. So that's one of my favorite activities that I do every single week, at least once a week.
Awesome. Well, I want to get into your story more and where you were before Flow, but we're going to have to take a quick break. But remember, everyone, this is a live show. So if you are struggling to overcome a habit or behavior and would like some advice from Michael, feel free to call 1-888-298-KKNW or 425-373-5527 after this quick break.
Post-traumatic stress syndrome affects people from all walks of life, triggered by sexual assault, traffic, collisions, warfare, or other threats to life. PTSD is a killer. Every day, an average of 22 veterans commit suicide due in part to PTSD. Retired U.S. Colonel Debbie Simpson struggled with her own PTSD. Following a military career specializing in critical care, Debbie turned to dancing as a way to heal unresolved grief, guilt, and shame caused by the losses of war. The benefits were so great that she founded the nonprofit Battlefield to Ballroom, a unique approach to assisting other brave warriors. Battlefield to Ballroom has partnered with famed dance company Arthur Murray International to help veterans in need. If you or someone you know can benefit, log on now to battlefieldtoballroom.org. That's Battlefield, the number 2, ballroom.org. Life is a dance, and you can give the gift of the first steps towards recovery. Donate at battlefieldtoballroom.org today. Men, care for your skin properly, starting with your face. Sakura Skin and Mind offers their Gentleman's Groom Clinical Facial for just $120. Designed for your rugged skin, a deep cleansing clinical facial is like a 1-2-3 punch to wrinkles, age spots, and problem skin. Tame those brows, ears, and nostrils. Sakura Skin and Mind, erasing wrinkles one clinical facial at a time. Learn more at sakuraskinandmind.com. SAKURA skinandmind.com.
At Madsen Medical Spa, our goal is a healthy, beautiful you. We're a full-service medical spa, but our focus is educating people on maintaining health and wellness. We're excited to announce a new addition to our menu, Nootropic Popular Beverage. This magical drink formulation alleviates unnecessary snacking while keeping you focused and alert throughout your day. It satisfies your hunger, renews your energy, enhances your mood, diminishes aches and pains. Essentially, it makes you happy. And who doesn't want to be happy? Patients have already been raving about Nootropic Popular Beverage. They've elevated their mood while losing inches in the process. It's safe, natural, fast, and effective. Drink happy, feel happy. Nootropic Popular Beverage, happiness in a cup. Available at happytoelevate.com. That's HAPPYTOELEVATE.com. Or call 206-234-9188. Warning, you may feel happy.
Is your tween starting to experience a change in their skin? Want to get them on an easy at-home routine and have good skin hygiene? Allow Sakura Skin and Mind to help your tween out. This brief, deep cleansing and educational 35-minute facial is just enough to get your tween, ages 10 to 12 years old, started off in the right direction. Sakura Skin and Mind uses the latest in the clinical skincare industry to care for your tween the right way for just $65. Sakura Skin and Mind, treating skin out there with an ounce of treatment and a pound of protection. Call 206-730-7429 or go to sakuraskinandmind.com.
Alternative Talk 1150. It's good for what ails you. This statement has not been evaluated by the FDA.
Welcome back to Love from the Hip. I'm spiritual hypnotherapist, master esthetician, and your host, Sakura Sutter. Don't forget to tune in right here on KKNW every Wednesday at 2 to 3 p.m. for more Love from the Hip. Today I have the pleasure of interviewing Michael Dash. He is an entrepreneur, best-selling author, mentor, speaker, and philanthropist. And if you are struggling to overcome a habit or behavior and would like more insight from Michael, feel free to call 1-888-298-KKNW or 425-373-5527. So, Michael, prior to Flow, I understand you had some addictions. I was wondering if you could walk us through your journey.
Sure. I was introduced at 11 years old at Thanksgiving dinner with my family to gambling by my uncle, my favorite uncle. Well, he was my favorite uncle, but I can't. And he would always, every year that we gathered, he would always be glued in front of the television watching the football games when the rest of the family was in another area of the kitchen and living room congregating. And so I would always be interested in why is he so enthralled in this game and everything. And then he told me, he had gambled on the game. And he took out this little sheet that he had in his pocket, and it had all the football games listed there with the spreads. And for the spread is basically the point spread between the favorite and the underdog. And you select either the favorite or the underdog, and whoever won, they would have to cover that point spread. So he explained to me that if I got $10 from my parents and was able to circle 4 games correctly, that I would actually win $100.
Wow.
So to me, that was the most exciting thing ever. I was 11 years old.
Right.
I ran over to my parents and borrowed $10, and I told them it was because we were getting hoagies or sandwiches, the next day, because we were staying with our uncle that night. The worst thing that could have happened to me did. I actually made those bets, and I won at 11 years old $100.
Oh, wow.
So that started what ended up being a 20-year gambling addiction, where I gambled and I thought about and gambled every single day of my life, multiple times a day, When I was at work, I was thinking about gambling. When I was at home, I was thinking about gambling. When I was with family, all I could do is think about gambling. And at a certain point, after gambling for like 10 years, after I went to college, gambling wasn't high. I wasn't getting high enough from just gambling. And that's when I was introduced to cocaine.
Huh. Okay.
And gambling and cocaine were a really lethal mix for me, because I used them together all the time for years. So those were two of my earliest addictions and harshest addictions. Gambling was a daily thing. Cocaine was every weekend. And I would be in New York City after I graduated college, and I would be out, in my early 20s, New York City, top of the world, have a good job, making good money. And I'm with my friends on a Friday or Saturday night, and we're at like a club in New York City at a table with bottle service and, surrounded by beautiful women. And I would lie to my friends and tell them I was leaving and I needed to go meet an ex.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't actually meeting an ex. I was leaving that whole scene so I could go home in my own apartment. I could pop open the computer and gamble on party poker, which is online poker, while doing cocaine alone till like 3-4 in the morning.
Oh, wow.
That's how sick at the time, and that's how out of control the addictions were for me.
Yeah. And so then what was going on in your life at that time? Was there any tragedy that you were trying to work through or trauma?
No, there was no tragedy. There was just, a reckless 20-year-old who thought he was a hotshot, who had a huge ego, who wanted to be the life of the party. And, one thing I was always good at was my job. I was always good at sales. I could always sell anything.
Yeah.
And so whatever company I was with, I was at the top of sales, and, that's where you make good money. So I was making good money, but I was pissing it all away. Excuse my French.
Was it affecting your job at all?
It wasn't affecting my job, because the one thing I was able to do is focus on my job. Throughout all of this, I got a high from closing a sale.
Okay.
Just like gambling got me high, and as doing a line of cocaine got me high, closing a sale, I got that same euphoria from.
Okay. All right.
So I always was doing it. So it didn't affect my job. I was always responsible from that standpoint. And I always knew I needed money to keep gambling. I needed money to be able to afford buying cocaine. Right. I needed money for those things. Okay. And so the pursuit of money allowed me to pursue that party lifestyle, those drugs. And, I had further addictions down the road after I had gotten a handle on those two addictions specifically.
What did you move in from there?
So after I stopped gambling, I went to Gamblers Anonymous, basically just because I was curious. I found out my brother was going, and I was shocked that he was going, and I wanted to understand why. So I went to Gamblers Anonymous, not thinking I wouldn't gamble again, but just thinking, what is this Gamblers Anonymous all about?
Mm-hmm.
I walked in, I remember being surrounded by a bunch of blue collar people, and I thought they were all degenerates. But by the end of that 2 hours, I actually realized I had more in common with all those people than some of my closest friends. I started working the program and was able to overcome gambling, and I'm now 14 years clean from my last bet.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I also was able to stop doing cocaine after I moved out of New York City because it was surrounding me there. However, when I left New York City, I followed a business opportunity to Salt Lake City, Utah. And that's where I opened my recruiting company, which I had for 11 years. While in Salt Lake City, I was introduced to Adderall. And Adderall was one of the worst, if not the worst addiction I had, because I took it every single day and it affected my emotional state, which then affected how I treated other people, which affected how I led my company and interacted with my employees. And for those who don't know what Adderall is, it's similar to Ritalin or any pharmaceutical drug that you need a prescription from. It's an amphetamine, but doctors will prescribe it to you if you have ADD or ADHD, attention deficit disorder, which I did have, but I kind of made up all these symptoms so I could get a prescription from the doctor.
Wow. I've heard that it's actually similar to meth, Adderall.
It is very similar to meth.
And what it does to the brain and the body.
You get this huge rush, and there's no doubt that it can help you focus and you can get a lot of work done and a lot accomplished in a short period of time, which is what attracted me to it first, because I could outproduce everybody on it. Mm-hmm. It definitely accelerated whatever emotional mood I was in to the 10th degree.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to get into how you overcame Adderall, but we're going to have to take another quick break. But remember, this is a live show. So if you are struggling to overcome a habit or behavior and would like some advice from Michael, feel free to call 1-888-298-KKNW or 425-373-5527 after this quick break. On this weekly Skinny, I would like to talk about meditation, as if anyone needed an additional reason to meditate. But according to Kaylee Fasanella, in an article she published in Allure, meditation is also good for your skin. In the article, Fasanella explained that after failed attempts to manage her red, itchy skin flare-ups due to her rare and chronic skin condition called Netherton syndrome, she decided to get really serious about meditation. Fasanella claims that meditation improved her skin within just 4 weeks. She began her new meditation routine with just minutes a day using the Headspace app. In the first week, she did not notice much change at all. Midway in her second week of meditation, however, she suddenly began to notice subtle changes in her skin. Her complexion was less red, yet still pink, and she had less of an urge to scratch her face. Mind you, Fasanella did not change her diet or sleep routine, she purely added in meditation. By the third week, Fasanella noticed even more improvement and was up to 5 minutes a day in her meditation practice. By week 4, Fasanella noticed more significant improvements, overall less redness and irritation. In addition, the itchiness or pruritus had subsided. Fasanella documented the changes in her skin over 4 weeks with photos, which she displayed in the article. She is now a big believer in the power of meditation and how it can change the skin. So how does meditation work to improve one's skin? Well, we know that meditation reduces negative emotions and stress. And as it turns out, chronic skin conditions worsen when stress is at an all-time high. A study done at the University of Sheffield showed that people suffering from psoriasis who listened to meditation tapes healed 4 times as fast as non-meditators. The study not only showed how meditation reduced stress that causes psoriasis in the first place, but it also triggered the body's innate ability to repair itself. Meditation also slows down the aging process. The mindful breathing that occurs during meditation can increase oxygen and consequently boost cellular health. It is said to improve complexion and slow down aging, essentially from the inside out. In addition, meditation has been shown to improve one's mood and confidence, which as a result gives one that glow. So aside from using an effective clinical skincare line, maintaining a nutritional diet, and living a healthy lifestyle, meditation is also a great addition to your at-home skincare regimen. And best of all, it costs nothing.
Did you know that your skin is your body's first defense against disease and infection? Briotech knows, and has developed their topical skin spray to enhance your skin's natural healing responses and defenses. Briotech is all about providing its customers products that help promote skin wellness. Briotech Topical Skin Spray is a light misting spray free of added fragrance, oil, alcohol, and parabens. All this protection without clogging your pores. It's a must addition to your all-around daily skincare regimen. Try Briotech, a collection of sprayers from 2 ounces to 8 ounces. With this bundle, you can have Briotech Topical Skin Spray wherever life takes you. All natural and safe to use from head to toe. Irritations, redness, post-procedure sensitivities? Get Briotech Topical Skin Spray today. Years in the making, doctor recommended, and available through Amazon. Learn more at briotechusa.com. That's BRIOTECHUSA.com. Support your skin at briotechusa.com.
Make it a great day. Keep your dial on Alternative Talk 1150.
Welcome back to Love from the Hip. I'm spiritual hypnotherapist, master esthetician, and your host, Sakura Sutter. And feel free to email me at sakura@lovefromthehip.com with your comments, your criticisms, your questions, and well wishes. Let me know how I am doing. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing Michael Dash. He is an entrepreneur, best-selling author, mentor, speaker, and philanthropist. And if you are struggling to overcome a habit or behavior and would like more insight from Michael, feel free to call 1-888-298-KKNW or 425-373-5527. So, Michael, you were addicted to Adderall. So how long was that addiction for?
About 7 years on a basis.
And how did you overcome that?
By accident.
Kind of like gambling, right?
Yeah. Although gambling, I intentionally went to a meeting, even though it wasn't my intent to stop gambling. With Adderall, I actually ran out of my prescription.
Oh.
I remember walking into the office one morning and I had this routine where I would drink a large coffee and then I would open my desk drawer and I would have my Adderall pills in there and I would pop one.
Okay.
So I got there one day and went to take one of my pills and I was out. I was completely out. So I called my doctor in a little frenzy, in a frantic, I should say, and left a message. It was like 8:00 in the morning that I needed to refill my prescription. Call me immediately. Well, the hours went by and they still had not called by lunchtime. And I was sitting there, every call coming in, I was hoping would be the doctor. That's how out of control it was, because in my mind, I couldn't function without it.
Right.
I actually tied functionality to Adderall.
Okay.
Without it, I had brainwashed kind of myself that I wouldn't be able to work or act like normally. So at 12 noon came around and they still hadn't called back. So I got in my car and I drove a half an hour to the doctor's office trying to see the doctor. And when I got up to the receptionist and she realized it was me and she had heard my message earlier and they were just really, really busy and didn't have a chance to call me back, they basically said to me, Michael, we got your message from early this morning. The doctor's booked solid. He's booked solid for the next 3 days. We're sorry. We can't help you. And I'm just like, you don't understand. I ran out of my prescription. I need to refill this prescription. I can't get through the day without this drug, without Adderall. And I could tell by the looks I was getting that they were like, you might have a problem.
Right.
They didn't say that, but I felt it. You know how you can feel somebody's glare and what they're saying through their glare?
Yes.
That's kind of how I felt. When I went back to my car in the parking lot, I remember sitting in the car completely dejected and kind of in a little bit of a panic as to what I was going to do for the next 3 days. When I realized there was nothing I could really do and that I was kind of acting irrationally, it really kind of hit me like, okay, you have an issue. When I thought about that morning and everything that I had done, just in that morning to get this pill, I realized I was out of control. So for the next 3 days, I had no Adderall. And my employees actually started questioning, like, are you okay? Because and the reason they were doing that is because I was in much more of a collaborative manner with them. I was actually mentoring them instead of chastising them for mistakes that were happening. We were actually collaborating solutions. In other words, I was actually being a leader.
Right.
Which I was supposed to be every single day as an entrepreneur, but I wasn't acting the part and I wasn't, conscious enough to recognize that my behavior before was a little derogatory, a little, not supportive in the way that I should have been. And over those 3 days, it just completely changed the dynamic of my interactions with my team and the solutions. And that's when I recognized, I'm not doing this drug anymore. I'm not doing it anymore. And I haven't done it since. Now, I will tell you, it definitely had a physical impact on me.
I was going to ask, yeah.
Yeah, it definitely had a physical and mental impact, like just quitting cold turkey like that.
Right.
And it's not like a suggestion if you're on a specific medication to just quit cold turkey. There are other ways to do it. and I'm not a doctor, so I'm not. I am not equipped to give that specific advice. However, for me, what I experienced was that physical level of energy was a lot lower. So my coffee intake went up a lot, but certainly would rather drink more coffee than be tied to a drug for the rest of my life that was actually negatively impacting my behaviors. And it was causing it was just causing a complete up and down type of manic behavior and feeling that I carried around with me all the time.
Yeah, that's a lot. So what do you think, or what did you learn was the spiritual, emotional, or mental reason for all of your addictions? Was there an underlying reason?
I believe that most people are drawn to specific addictions because we use it as an escape. And it's an escape from our reality. And we're usually running from some sort of emotions, some sort of wound, some sort of, maybe something happened to us in our childhood. There was some trauma in our lives, or we just aren't equipped to deal with our emotional state. And so to not have to deal with our emotional state, we run to an addiction. It could be gambling, it could be drugs, it could be shopping, it could be eating, it could be pornography.
Sure.
It could be, there are so many addictions out there and so many people suffering that that it's really scary. And a lot of it is also driven by ego. What I found in the entrepreneurial world is that, addiction's a huge problem. And, people won't confront it or speak about it because their ego is in the way. At least mine was at the time. I didn't admit to anybody that I had any sort of problem because I was too arrogant.
And you feel alone in that sense too.
100%. And it leads to isolation, leads to, lack of connection can completely lead to depression and then suicidal thoughts. And, it just gets worse.
Goes on and on. Yeah. So do you think with all your addictions, it sounds like you really wanted to close the sale? That was important to you. And it sounds like these addictions kind of helped you to do that. And you were very hyper-focused. So was that the appeal then of flow consciousness? Because essentially that does the same thing.
Not really. When I went to Bali 3 years ago and I heard these two people, Justin and Jackie, talk about flow, I thought it was complete BS. I resisted every word of it. When they would talk about manifestation, like I never used that word. Like manifesting, I never used that word up till 3 years ago. To me, like it would be like, my belief was if you work hard, good things happen. Not that I can go manifest my future and make this happen.
Right.
Speak it, it's going to happen. I didn't believe in any of that. Like they believe in synchronization. Like there's certain events that occur in your life that are synchronized together and they happen for a reason. And I was born and I was raised to believe that that's called coincidence. Right. So I just didn't believe in these things. But when I heard them and I resisted hard and I had a conversation with these people, I still didn't believe them. But when I flew back from Bali to the United States, I remember on that flight just thinking to myself and repeating the phrase over and over, would it be so bad to live a different way? And I was in such a negative mindset at that time, and I felt so heavy and burdened by the challenges in my life that I created. See, what most of us, don't want to face is that the problems in our life, 99% of them are self-made.
Right.
We build them ourselves. And I am certainly a perfect example of that. So when I went over and when I continued to think about would it be so bad to live a different way on that flight, I started feeling lighter And it just felt, well, the answer, of course, was, oh, no, absolutely not. It would be amazing to feel a different way.
Right.
And that's when I decided to push my ego aside, not focus on how much money this course would cost, because it wasn't that much in the big scheme of things. It was like $1,000. And just to take the course and drop anything I previously thought, all of my opinions about it, the fact that I think that it's BS, it's not going to work. I dropped all of that, dropped my ego, and I took the course. And that's when I started being able to adopt some of their practices and saw them in action.
That's awesome. Well, I hate to interrupt you, Michael, but we're going to have to take a quick break. So everyone stick around for more Love from the Hip.
Peach fuzz is great if it's on a peach. Let Sakura Skin & Mind remove unsightly hair with dermaplaning. Although its primary purpose is to remove layers of dead skin, it's just one of the added benefits, leaving your skin baby smooth, safe, effective, fast, and affordable. What a concept! Sakura Skin & Mind wants you to look your very best, and dermaplaning is just one tool in their chest. Find out about dermaplaning at sakuraskinandmind.com. SAKURA, skinandmind.com. We bring out the healthy skin and healthy way of thinking you didn't know you had.
Post-traumatic stress syndrome affects people from all walks of life, triggered by sexual assault, traffic, collisions, warfare, or other threats to life. PTSD is a killer. Every day, an average of 22 veterans commit suicide due in part to PTSD. Retired U.S. Colonel Debbie Simpson struggled with her own PTSD, following a military career specializing in critical care. Debbie turned to dancing as a way to heal unresolved grief, guilt, and shame caused by the losses of war. The benefits were so great that she founded the nonprofit Battlefield to Ballroom, a unique approach to assisting other brave warriors. Battlefield to Ballroom has partnered with famed dance company Arthur Murray International to help veterans in need. If you or someone you know can benefit, log on now to battlefieldtoballroom.org. That's Battlefield, 2, ballroom.org. Life is a dance, and you can give the gift of the first steps towards recovery. Donate at battlefieldtoballroom.org today.
Did you know that your skin is your body's first defense against disease and infection? Briotech knows and has developed their topical skin spray to enhance your skin's natural healing responses and defenses. Briotech is all about providing its customers products that help promote skin wellness. Briotech Topical Skin Spray is a light misting spray free of added fragrance, oil, alcohol, and parabens. All this protection without clogging your pores. It's a must addition to your all-around daily skincare regimen. Try Briotech, a collection of sprayers from 2 ounces to 8 ounces. With this bundle, you can have Briotech Topical Skin Spray wherever life takes you. All natural and safe to use from head to toe. Irritations, redness, post-procedure sensitivities? Get Briotech Topical Skin Spray today. Years in the making, doctor recommended, and available through Amazon. Learn more at briotechusa.com. That's BRIOTECHUSA.com. Support your skin at briotechusa.com.
Want a more youthful figure no matter what age? Find answers at Madsen Medical Spa. Allow doctors Aaron and Paul to help you eliminate your frustration with weight management. Say no to yo-yo, diets, and exhausting exercise grinds. Madsen Medical Spa will do the heavy lifting for you and coach you all the way through to your ideal weight. We offer the latest and greatest in body sculpting and body contouring lasers and devices, high-quality nutritional supplements and meal replacements, as well as mindful practices. We will treat the inside to treat the outside, and it's all personally tailored for you. Men and women, drop inches, not just pounds, and see a healthy, beautiful you. Consultations are free. Results are priceless. Log on to MadsenMedSpa.com. That's MADSEN Medspa.com. Or call 425-656-8008. That's 425-656-8008. Get the shape you want this summer. Become a healthier, more beautiful you.
Organic, free range, and fresh daily. Alternative Talk 1150.
Welcome back to Love from the Hip. I'm spiritual hypnotherapist, master esthetician, and your host, Sakura Sutter. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and to subscribe and share my YouTube channel and podcast on Podcast One, Love from the Hip, and that's HYP. Today I have the pleasure of interviewing Michael Dash. He is an entrepreneur, best-selling author, mentor, speaker, and philanthropist. So Michael, through all of your experiences, I understand you came to write your book, Chasing the High, and I also understand you have a program called the Fate Series. Can you tell us more about that?
Absolutely. So after I started talking about my story, several people mentioned to me, you should really write a book. You should talk about this more. And I decided that was a great idea. So that's what I did. And in Chasing the High, I really talk about my struggles and my journey through addiction, entrepreneurship, lawsuits, and my journey to the edge. And basically all the mistakes that I made, I talk about, as well as the lessons learned along the way. And there's some really great nuggets in there that others have told me they've been able to incorporate into their lives to get away from compulsive behaviors, such as one of the chapters is called The Habit of Habit Making. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's very important in all of our lives to have strong habits. But, the whole goal in life is that as we make mistakes, as we continue to go through life, as we learn our lessons, we incorporate what we've learned into our life and continue to evolve as humans. Mm-hmm. And it's the same with our habits. As we evolve as people, our habits are going to evolve as well. The same habits I had, even though they're positive 5 years ago, some of those don't resonate with me 5 years later. So it's important to continue to be curious about things. And, I call it the power of curiosity. I think it's one of the most undervalued things that we have, because as children, we're born as curious little creatures. Mm-hmm. I mean, we'll put mud in our mouth because we just don't know any better. Right.
Right.
Yes. We want to know what it is. But as we get a job, as we, grow up and, we become like much more robotic, and the creativity in our mind, a lot of us, it goes away. We just get into this routine and we stay with it all the time. And it becomes very monotonous. Mm-hmm. Continuing to be curious and trying activities that maybe you haven't tried before, but because you heard an opinion about it, you stayed away from it. But that specific activity, whatever it might be, just because it doesn't resonate with your friends or your family doesn't mean it won't resonate with you. Mm-hmm. Perfect example of that for me is meditation, sound baths, these breath work, those three things. I would get opinions from people, oh, don't try that breath work. It doesn't work. It's like a waste of your time, until I actually tried it myself. And it actually resonated with me. And it just proved to me that I need to try things out for myself. And when they provide value to me and they are able to keep me focused and it's positive, incorporate it as a habit. And that's the whole process of the habit of habit making, mm-hmm. Continuing to build those habits. I've developed, you had mentioned the 4-step process before, or you had mentioned FATE. So FATE stands for FATE, from addict to entrepreneur. Huh. So I have a platform, and one of the pieces is I interview former addicts who are now entrepreneurs and built multi-million-dollar businesses. And we discuss the similarities between addicts and entrepreneurs, because there are a lot. And the other is a 10-week mentoring program that I am working with leaders, entrepreneurs, who are challenged with compulsive behaviors that are holding them back from being the leader that they want to be. And whether that's a leader in the office, leader in their household, leader in their communities, whatever it may be. So over the years, I've gone to the anonymous programs, I've had mentors, I've had coaches, I've gone to retreats. Like, I've literally spent hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to find like the genius solution. Mm-hmm. And there really is no one solution. There are several solutions out there. What has worked for me is I developed a 4-step process. It starts with self-recognition. It then taps into that power of curiosity. It takes that curiosity and puts it into action, and then that action leads to connection. And when you have connection, then you can build community. And then you can have like-minded individuals who you can count on for support when you're going through those trying times in your life, in your business, in your marriage, in whatever it may be. So I actually have if anybody's interested in your audience, I actually put together a free webinar where they can learn everything about the process and how to really integrate into it. And I'm also running a free 7-day Fate Facebook challenge that will be coming out in 1 week. And we could leave those details in the show notes, I guess. But if they wanted to check the
go ahead and give that to them right now.
Sure. So the webinar is just michaelg-.com/fate, FATE.
Okay.
And the book, Chasing the High, you can find at chasingthehighbook.com. It was an Amazon bestseller, and I've been getting some great feedback, and really just want to get the word out there that there are other options to these compulsive behaviors, and that we're building a community to support and uplift each other during these trying times.
That's wonderful. So what is one takeaway for my listeners that are maybe personally struggling to overcome an addiction or have a loved one that is in the fit of it?
The first step is recognition. You have to recognize that you need help. And a lot of that comes to, putting your ego aside, getting your ego in check. And we all need help. The problem is sometimes, especially if you're a leader or something, you're afraid of being found out. You're afraid of showing any weakness, and you don't even have to be a leader for that. It could just be like the relationship that you might be in. You don't want to show weakness. You don't want anybody to see that. Mm-hmm. So I would say that's number one. And the other thing is that change is really actually very easy. We convince ourselves it's hard because we equate the change to what we want the result to be. But the actual change itself is extremely easy, and anybody can change right now. Mm-hmm. It takes work to get the result of the change, but the change itself can occur very easily. And there are tips in my book and tips in this program that can help people walk through it.
Well, that's awesome. Well, having endured what you have, would you do it all over again?
There are certain things I would do a little differently, but I don't like to look back and have regrets. Everything that I did has led me to this point. I've learned a lot of valuable lessons, and I truly feel that I've been called and put on this earth to have an impact on others and to help others also have the courage to take that first step and make that change.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for being here, Michael.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it and appreciate your audience.
Thank you. And thank you, Eric, my phenomenal producer, and you, the listener. You can find me at lovefromthehip.com or sakuraskinandmind.com. You can also follow me on Instagram or on Facebook and subscribe to my YouTube channel as well as my podcast on Podcast One, Love from the Hip, and that's HYP. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to email me at sakura@lovefromthehip.com. And tune in next Wednesday at 2 p.m. for another Love from the Hip, and make self-love contagious. Go ahead, I dare ya.